From Vermont Public, this is The Frequency. I'm Mitch Wertlieb. It's Wednesday, March 5th, and we'll get to town meeting day in a second. But first, U.S. Representative Becca Balint boycotted President Trump's joint address to Congress last night. Instead, Balint took part in a live stream providing real-time fact-checking of Trump's speech, alongside commentary from lawmakers and pundits.
At this point, there have just been so many lies that it has become normalized, but I refuse to normalize it. I will not be a set piece in his production.
Meanwhile, Senator Bernie Sanders attended Trump's speech and delivered a response directly after its conclusion. And Vermont's sugaring industry was represented at the joint address. Allison Hope is executive director of the Vermont Maple Sugar Makers Association and attended the speech as Senator Peter Welch's guest. Welch and Hope said they aimed to raise awareness of how the Trump administration's newly enacted 25% tariffs on Canadian goods might negatively affect Vermont's sugaring industry. They say the tariffs could potentially increase the cost of Canadian-made sugaring equipment, ultimately making maple syrup products more expensive. Federal data says Vermont makes the most maple syrup in the nation, producing 3.1 million gallons of syrup last year. That's a nearly 20% increase from 2023. Turning to the annual exercise of local democracy known as Town Meeting Day, more than 40 people attended Jay's floor debate, which was a bit above average, according to the local town clerk. Voters in Jay approved everything brought before them, including funding for the Select Board, the Jay Volunteer Fire Department, and local roads. Lindsay White lives in Jay, and she was glad to see the solid turnout.
I love town meeting. It's a wonderful time to get to see neighbors, but it's also just important to participate and make your voice heard. I think it's really a wonderful tradition.
After the meeting wrapped up, voters tucked in for a potluck lunch. Vermonters in about a half dozen cities and towns also considered adopting a pledge of support for Palestinians on Town Meeting Day, and Thetford residents already passed a non-binding resolution on the topic on Saturday. It's far from the first time international issues have come up on Town Meeting Day. Yesterday, on Vermont Edition, Middlesex town moderator and author Susan Clark recalled when more than 150 towns voted for a nuclear arms freeze in 1982.
There had been this recent increase in tension because the Soviet Union had invaded Afghanistan, and people were terrified. They were really tired of having this threat hanging over their heads, and it certainly did raise awareness, got people's attention.
Other topics for non-binding town meeting resolutions included the Iraq War in the 2000s, the Citizens United decision in 2012, and Thomas Jefferson's Embargo Act all the way back in 1808. In the three-town western Rutland County School District of Quarry Valley, voters weighed in on a non-binding article about school closure yesterday. The district operates three separate single-town high schools in Proctor, West Rutland, and Poultney. Proctor resident Dan Kearney said his two sons went to Proctor schools and benefited from the small school environment, but he still wonders whether a school that graduates about 20 kids a year is sustainable.
It's an expensive building for 20 students. I don't know what the answer is. Taxes are going up. People can't afford it, so we'll see.
Superintendent Christopher Sell said the school board didn't have a particular school in mind when its members put the item on the ballot, but wanted to survey community sentiment on the subject. And the town of Guilford passed all articles presented during their first ever Saturday town meeting day, highlighted by a couple of items tied to federal politics. Voters approved a non-binding straw vote to affirm the U.S. Constitution as the country's governing document, that according to reporting by the Brattleboro Reformer. And in another non-binding vote, they requested that Governor Phil Scott affirm his commitment to uphold Vermont and U.S. law, amid what they described as federal overreach. Voters also approved a highway budget of little over $1 million and nearly $270,000 for the Guilford Volunteer Fire Department. Coming up, we hear from more Vermonters around the state who participated in Town Meeting Day, including a gentleman from Calais who gives reporter Erica Heilman an earful about the state of the town's roads. That's after this.
Thanks for listening to The Frequency, where support comes from VITA, supporting business growth and innovation in the Green Mountain State. From agriculture to manufacturing, energy to food production, find solutions that turn your business dreams into reality. Visit VEDA.org and see how VITA can help make it happen.
Yesterday was the first Tuesday in March, meaning it was Town Meeting Day.
All in favor of electing Gus Seelig as your moderator for the ensuing year, please say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. No. The ayes
As you've been hearing all across the state, Vermonters gathered to discuss, debate, and vote on issues directly related to their community. That includes the big stuff, town and school budgets, and the small, like resurfacing tennis courts or earmarking a few $1,000s for after-school programs. Vermont Public's Mary English has these scenes from around the state.
In Calais Tuesday morning, town moderator Gus Seelig started off with some reminders, like how to vote.
Voice vote is how we do a lot of business.
To introduce yourself before speaking.
Because although you may think everybody in town knows you, there may be somebody new here who's never seen you before.
And to keep an eye on the time.
If you go on for a really long time and you hear the moderator say, could you get back to the point of the question, it means that at least in my simple mind, I can't follow your logic anymore. And some people go a long ways around the barn before they get to the point.
There were a lot of decisions made Tuesday. Jay voters approved more money for the volunteer fire department and select board. In Plainfield, town residents packed into the Opera House. The big item up for debate was on a plan that could eventually create more housing in the village. Select Board member Dan Fingus says the proposal is a response to Plainfield getting hit hard by floods this summer.
That is looking to add 40 or so lots close to the village, up higher away from the floods.
Fingus says there was controversy around the project. And so the Select Board decided to take the temperature of residents on town meeting day and let people hash it out.
We need tax base. We need community. We need folks who can afford to live here.
I know this is an emotional thing, and I know it's about people's homes and our home. I'm third generation Plainfielder, not even Vermonter. So I have a stake in how this goes.
A vote here saying yes is a vote to allow this conversation, this exploration, to continue to be explored and be refined.
Plainfield voters approved the measure 130 to 30. In several communities, town meeting itself was up for debate. Charlotte, Northfield, and Linden all considered whether to ditch the traditional in-person meeting for ballot voting. In Linden, Joe Benning, a former state senator, spoke against the proposal.
Democracy was never meant to be convenient. If we keep ceding our ability to meet as a group and come here and debate, that troubles me deeply.
When it came time for the vote,
All in favor? Aye. Aye. All opposed? Nay.
Linden residents decided to stick with in-person meetings and floor votes. Town meeting day is often held up as an example of democracy in its purest form. And civic duty, more than what's on the agenda, drove some Vermonters out to vote, like Royalton resident Tony Hoper. She said staying home would be cheating her town.
And so this is one place where we see the result of building community when we all come together and discuss. And this year, to our credit, we didn't have people yelling and making accusations. People were really warm and friendly pretty much, and I appreciate that.
And while town meeting day is often a time where everyone in town can have their say on the issues, Calais resident Gail Graham decided this year to hold back.
And I'm always shot down.
For years, Graham says she's raised questions about how much money the town gives the library. This year, Graham decided not to bring it up.
Today, I'll be sitting in the back of the room because I have the table back there. But it's just as well that I don't get up and express my opinion.
Graham says she did read the town report and she has some questions. For Vermont Public, I'm Mary English.
Of course, town meeting day isn't just about civil debate or neighborly conversation over baked goods. Sometimes it's just about providing a forum for people to air their grievances. And perhaps no town meeting topic elicits more complaining than the maintenance of local roads and the performance of town road foremen. At town meeting in Calais yesterday, Vermont Public reporter Erica Heilman sat down with local resident Doug Lilly, who had a lot to say about roads in town.
So, why are you here today, sir?
Well, I'm here to give my opinion about a lot of things in town, probably more so than I'm going to be allowed to. I mean, they want me to talk for 5 minutes. That's it. No more. I don't think I can talk in 5 minutes.
You mean you need more time?
I need more time. I want to talk about the Cold Springs.
Okay.
The Cold Springs is down there for, I don't know how many years. Maybe 200 years. I mean, my grandfather, people that had horses, they'd work them out, and then they'd stop the Cold Springs right down here, Peak and Branch, and let them drink. Well, our truck driver, Stafford, John Stafford they made him I don't know what his job is. I know he's not the manager. I guess he does what he wants to do.
What did he do?
He went down there and he closed it off so nobody can get in there because the guy that owned the land up behind it. People were putting one bed spring down there. They're going to put it there. If they don't put it there, they're going to throw it in the brook somewhere.
Right. So you want that open?
I want that open so everybody can use it. So why did Stafford, a truck driver, didn't ask nobody, just did it? He spent a lot of money, bringing in dirt.
And he's on the road commission. Or he's on the road crew.
Yeah, he's on the road crew. He's I don't know what they do call him.
Okay, so what in general terms? You've been doing this a very long time. Here in Cal, you've been coming to town meeting every day since I've known you, or every time since I've known you, and a long time before I did. Why is it important?
Things like that. Take
things like Cold
over.
Springs.
Huh?
Things like springs in Cold Springs.
Yeah, it's like things like marking up the trees on Tucker Road with a plow.
Yep.
What
else?
Right up
some other big ones from over the years.
Oh, over the years, I don't know. I have a petition I got here. I had to drive around. I got everybody on Lightning Ridge Road to sign this. Everybody. They wanted to lower the speed limit down to 25. Because they're crazy. They come down here in the morning, they're late for school, their kids are late. They don't take the bus, they drive by my farm, 90 miles an hour.
What else? Give me some other your favorites from the years.
Things like, and widening the roads.
Okay.
Widening the roads.
That was Calais resident Doug Lilly speaking with Vermont Public reporter Erica Heilman. Thanks for listening to The Frequency today. We had additional reporting from the entire Vermont Public News team. Our executive producer is Kevin Trevelyan, and our music is by Blue Dot Sessions. I'm Mitch Wertlieb. Talk to you tomorrow.
Each morning, it's a new opportunity, a chance to start fresh. Up First from NPR makes each morning an opportunity to learn and to understand. Choose to join the world every morning with Up First, a podcast that hands you everything going on across the globe and down the street, all in 15 minutes or less. Start your day informed and anew with Up First by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts.